I want to show you something because I want to ask your help on something. I have great and powerful hope that things are going to change. Whether they're going to change in this next election or in the next 2 years or 5 years, I have no idea. But things are going to change, and we have to be the force for good, faith, hope, and charity. When you think of iconic pictures, when you think of moments, the Wright brothers, you think of this, right? It's an iconic moment. When you think of the Great Depression or the Dust Bowl, you most likely will think of this. The end of World War II, this is the iconic image. The moon. Okay. 828, the Restoring Honor Rally, is tied for the 5th largest event ever on the mall with Ronald Reagan's inauguration. It is the largest event ever assembled by a private individual, ever. What is the iconic image? For me, it's this. And I think I told you this right after 828. This is Addison and Tom Jones. Addison is 9 years old. And I want to tell you a story because it's actually the frame after this one that for me will always be the moment I remember of 828. This is truly, to me, what it was all about. Addison and Tom. Let me tell you the story of what happened that day. Addison decides to go down with his dad. His dad asks him to come down to Washington because he heard me on this program say, in that crowd there's going to be an 8-year-old kid, and that 8-year-old kid could be the next great monument. He heard me say that on radio and television, so he decided he had to bring his 9-year-old son, Addison, down. When they got there on Friday or Thursday night, they were hoping that they could just sleep. They didn't book a hotel, couldn't find a hotel. They were just going to sleep outside at the Kennedy Center in hopes of getting tickets to a Divine Destiny program. Well, by the time they got there Thursday night, the tickets were all gone, and the Kennedy Center didn't want anybody sleeping outdoors overnight, so everybody was gone. And Tom called his wife, Rochelle, at home, and I'm sure if she's anything like my wife, she said, I told you they should have had it. Well, Tom said, Addison and I are going to just go to the Lincoln Memorial, and we're just going to go there for a minute. We'll figure out what we're going to do. Well, when they got there, Thursday night, very late, there was already a crowd for the Saturday event. People were staying up because you can't sleep on the mall, but they were staying up, and people were just kind of sharing hotel rooms and taking shifts so they could go sleep and then just stand watch there. Well, Friday morning early, they decided they were just going to stay there with those friends. And Friday morning early, I happened to go to the Lincoln Memorial. And here is a picture of what happened. Now, you can't see Addison and Tom in this picture, but they are there in this crowd. There's only about 30 of them, I think, were there in the morning. And it was about 6 o'clock. And I went over to shake everybody's hand, and I said, do you mind if we all say a prayer together? And so we prayed. Well, Tom called his wife right away that morning and said it was the most amazing thing ever. And I remember Tom and Addison because I remember Addison's face. He reminded me an awful lot of me when I decided what I wanted to do in life. Well, now let's move forward. This was Friday morning, and then this is in the green room of the Kennedy Center, and I said, this is going to be an amazing evening. And we were getting ready for the Divine Destiny, and some guys came in and said, we have a few tickets left. Well, the gospel choir was still rehearsing, and I said, oh, I want to go. I want to go take them to the Lincoln Memorial because I saw some people there this morning that I'd like to give them to. And I knew there was a big crowd there. Well, by the time I had worked my way over to the crowd, here's the crowd when I first got there. When I got to the crowd, I love her face here. Look at her. By the time I got to the place where we had said the prayer early in the morning, I only had 3 tickets left. 3 tickets. And I looked, come here, I looked and I tried to find Addison. I didn't see him. I didn't see him. But look at the people. And they were all, give me a ticket, give me a ticket. I had 3 left. And finally, my photographer, George Lang, he found Addison standing there at the end of the line. and he was raising his hand. Me, pick me. My photographer pointed him out, and I walked over, and I gave him the tickets. Now, this is why I say this is the iconic moment. Could you get me that other picture here? Here's the series. Watch Tom's face. Look at Addison. Tom gets the tickets. Addison knows what has just happened. He trusted and he knew this was going to be important. And all of a sudden, it just happened. Give me this. This is the next shot in the series. Gave him the tickets. Then he looks down, hugs his son. And this, to me, is what I will always, always remember about 828. Look at his face. Look at a dad's face. Can you pull in on that? Dad knows. He knows what's in store and what's happening, and Addison is still full of hope and joy. I'm going to ask you to do me a favor. We're going to have to take a break, and when we come back, I want to ask you to do one thing for me. And it is something that I wrote. I wrote Addison this weekend, and I want to ask you to be involved in this, if you will. We'll do that next to see if we can make what I said on the stage of 828 a reality.
Somewhere in this crowd, I know it. I have been looking for the next George Washington. I can't find him. I know he is in this crowd. He may be 8 years old, but this is the moment. This is the moment that he dedicates his life, that he sees giants around him. And 25 years from now, he will come not to this stair, but to those stairs. And he can proclaim, I have a new dream. That must be our goal.
It may be Addison. It may not be. It may be somebody in that crowd. It may be somebody who has just been influenced by something you have done or shared. I want you to do me a favor, will you? Whether you went to 828 or didn't go to 828, but you have been, your family is trying to work on merit. I want you to email your story at serve@glennbeck.com. Share your experiences, but I want you to do something else, because this is what I did to Tom and Rochelle and Addison from Pennsylvania. I told them I wanted to have their story on record. I wanted to keep it in my own book of merit, like Washington had. And in 10 or 15 years, when I'm old and seemingly, I don't know if I can get more gray, I'm going to call Addison. And I'm going to do a follow-up. It's a long, long time away, but I want to find out. I'm just going to ask, so what did you do? What did you do? Please send those to me. Share your family story. Share this with your family. Make a commitment, the 40-day and 40-night plan. Have that conversation, because we have to grow the next great monument. Email me at serve@glennbeck.com. Back in a minute. I've been talking about these three concepts, faith, hope, and charity, for a long time now, about a year, and a lot of people still can't figure it out. And why do I keep coming back to these? Because there are storm clouds on the horizon. That's why charity is so important. There is pain coming at the end of all of this, whether it's because you choose, number two, limited government, or because big global government is in charge and just goes broke. One way or another, pain is coming for a lot of people. Well, let me give you the latest from the IMF. That's the International Monetary Fund. They're trying to redistribute the wealth and the power of the member nations. The IMF just released a joint report, and they did it with, oh, look, that's right, the labor unions. Yeah. Power structure. They're warning that America and Europe could face the worst job crisis since the 1930s and, quote, risk an explosion of social unrest. Gee. You knew about that 2 years ago if you watched this program. They said America and Europe has to tread carefully, give some more money. Now I want to show you a chart showing the duration of unemployment in the U.S. And this is not the fear-mongering Glenn Beck saying this. These are figures from the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics. Now, we've already had a glimpse of what happens when you've got unemployment and you have people saying, no, you can't have the pensions that you were promised because you were played by these guys. What happens? Well, you had the riots in Greece. There may come a time in this country where you cannot rely on the federal government for help. I actually hope that it doesn't happen because of a crisis. I hope it happens because we believe in limited government. But I don't think most of us have any idea how tied to the federal government we really are. That's why charity is so critical. Charity. Tomorrow, John Stossel is going to be joining me. We're going to talk about how tied you are to the federal government, and you don't even know it. Don't miss it tomorrow. This weekend, I'm going to be at Clemson University, then I'm going to be in Indiana, and then Chicago. I hope to see you there. From New York, good night, America.